this week's edition of the Alabama Racer. Give us the next 30 minutes and we will give you everything that's happening in the world of racing around the state of Alabama. I'm your host, Jim Jacobs, and I brought in a little help this week.
Hey, I'm Cruz Skinner. I drive the number 11 Skinner Motorsports Dirt Late model. I'm here this week to help Jim out with the show. Let's see what we got coming up this week.
This week on the Alabama Racer, it's part one of our interview with Bret and Stacy Holmes from the BHR Race Shop in Munford. We'll also visit with Freestyle Graphics owner and super late model racer Jason Hiett, cover the state's tracks and racing action in the racing calendar, and find out more about our co-host Cruz Skinner when this week's edition of the Alabama Racer goes green next.
Your pet is an important part of your family that returns love and care unconditionally. And right now's the best time to think about your pet's care for the spring months ahead. Greenbrier Animal Clinic in Anniston has been taking care of pets in the Calhoun County area for over 3 decades. Call now and schedule your pet for their annual vaccinations, flea and tick treatment, or grooming. Dr. Bill Brom and Dr. Elizabeth Main ensure your pet always sees a vet. X-ray lab and the latest surgical facilities on site ensures quality health care. Greenbrier Animal Clinic. Warm hearts, treating cold noses.
Who did you let down today? Your wife? Your kids? Well, how about yourself? Take a look in the mirror. If you're tired of your drug and alcohol problem, you need to fix the problem, and right now, before you hurt or kill yourself, or worse yet, somebody else. Call the addiction specialist now at the Detox and Treatment Helpline, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you have private insurance, we specialize in finding you the right treatment. When you call right now, you'll speak to a recovering addict who understands what you're going through right now. Let us help you break your addiction to drug and alcohol before it's too late. This call is completely confidential and free. So if you have private insurance, take 5 minutes of your time, call right now. I promise it'll change your life.
Call 800-608-5769, 800-608-5769, 800-608-5769, 800-608-5769.
Daffron Auto Salvage in Pell City is where you'll find over 30 acres of automotive salvage, plus a warehouse full of quality parts for almost any need. Just call ahead and tell us what you're looking for. At Daffron Auto Salvage, you'll find it all. Engine parts, transmissions, rear ends, radiators, suspension, body parts, auto glass, even tires and wheels. You'll also get fast, friendly service. It's been that way since 1965. Don't pay too much for parts. Think used first. Daffron Auto Salvage, 793 Old Cold City Road in Pell City.
Spring is finally here. If you're looking for a new car, truck, or SUV,
or just want something more dependable that's affordable to drive,
then come see us at Avery Auto Sales of Anniston, 410 South Quinchard Avenue, home of certified cars, trucks, and SUVs.
Don't pay high new car prices. Come see us at Avery Auto Sales in Oxford on Highway 78.
We even can offer an additional 100,000-mile certified warranty.
And yes, we can get you financed even if you have poor credit.
Spring into Avery Auto Sales on Highway 78 in Oxford and our new location on Quintard in Anniston.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Alabama Racers. Before we get into the meat of this week's program, let's visit a little bit with our co-host here, Cruz Skinner, and find out what his racing career has been all about the past couple of years. Cruz, first off, welcome to the show. Glad you could come in and join us today. Tell us what's been going on in the racing world around Cruz Skinner.
Thank you. I appreciate you letting me come on the show. And I started racing go-karts when I was 5 years old and raced those for 5 years. Then when I was 10 years old, I moved up into a front-wheel drive car. I drove a little Nissan Maxima, which was, those were my first real cars racing. But we raced those for 2 years, and then when I was 12 years old, I moved up into a dirt late model. That's what I'm in now, and the past 2 years we've been very fortunate to have the success we've had, and we've picked up multiple wins. And actually this past year, we picked up the Sunoco Young Guns Challenge Series Points Championship, which is the championship for the drivers 18 and under running the Neesmith Series tracks. So we was very fortunate to have the luck we have, and we also won the Talladega Short Track Championship. So we had a very good year.
Now, Cruz is modest. Cruz has 343 wins to his credit. including the crate late model feature win out at Talladega Short Track 2 weekends ago, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that knocked off, you got a bullet list for this year, okay? Tell us a little bit about that. That checked off one of the things that you wanted to do. Tell us what else is on tap for you coming up in 2015.
Yes, sir.
Or this is 2016.
This year, my goals are for the super late model car that we're going to start running more and more of this year. I want to get a win in the super late model, just anywhere. But in the crate late model, I want to have at least one win at 5 different tracks. So that's something. That would be a good accomplishment if we was able to get that. But that's just something to go for.
Well, let me ask you this question, because I wanted to ask you this ever since I saw the 2 race cars side by side, because honestly, I can't tell them apart. I don't know which is which. But from a driver's perspective, what's it like to jump out of the crate late model into the super late model? What's that like?
When I first started racing the super late model, it was a big change because of the motor difference. I really had to adjust my driving style. Running crate late models for 2 years, every track I had gone to, I had my braking points and everything like that, down pat. Then you really had to change all that for the super late model. But running the super late model really helps out your crate late model program, because in your mind it kind of slows everything down and lets you process things quicker. So it's been a big help.
Now, anybody that has never been in the pits out at the Talladega Short Track or any local dirt track or local track around the state, you probably don't realize what the camaraderie is like between the drivers and the teams. Everybody's buddies and helping one another most of the time, right? But when you go out to Talladega Short Track, who's that one guy you always want to be?
That's a tough question, but one thing I really enjoy about going out to a short track, you can just go out there, talk to everybody. Most people are friends and try to help out however you can, like you said. But if somebody comes to our trailers needing something, I try to help them out any way they can. It doesn't matter if they're out-of-towners or locals. I just want to try to help everybody and bring out the best in everybody.
And by the way, Cruz is just 14 years old. He'll turn 15 in August, and he's a student at Oxford High School. Hey, we're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, we're going to talk to another young racer who's about to make his super speedway racing debut. We'll visit with Bret Stacy Holmes in part 1 of our 2-week segment as they get ready for the General Tire 200 coming up out at Talladega Super Speedway. That is straight ahead when we continue right here on the Alabama Racer. Stay with us.
This is Lynn Phillips, Talladega Short Track, and you're watching the Alabama Racer.
Waking up to smells of burnt rubber, smoldering campfire, and barbecue sauce. I was there, cheering on the drivers you love and booing the ones you don't, while watching them battle the baddest track in NASCAR. You can bet I was there. Escape reality for a weekend at Talladega.
Experience the Geico 500 April 29th through May 1st. For tickets, call 877-GO-TO-DEGA. This is more than a race. This is Talladega.
Listen carefully. If your student loan debt is overwhelming you and things seem hopeless, we've got great news.
If you're still struggling with your student loan debt, there are government programs available that may actually lower your payments by consolidating your federal student loans. Just call us. We'll review your situation and work with you to consolidate your debt. In many cases, depending on your situation, we can lower your monthly payments in half or more. It doesn't matter how much you owe or how far behind you are. Even if you're in default, call us right now to find out how we can lower your payment in half immediately. You can stop the harassing phone calls and the wage garnishments. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call us right now. We can remove your default status, consolidate your federal student loans, lower your payments, and we can do it today. Stop worrying. This is a real solution that can help. So please call us right now.
Call 800-917-8671. That's 800-917-8671.
If you've been around for over 40 years, you have to be doing something right. Hare Wrecker Service is well known as the largest wrecker service in Etowah County. The Hare name stands for dependability when it comes to having the right equipment to get the job done. Whether it's our small wreckers or rollbacks for cars or trucks, or large wreckers for heavy hauling and recoveries, Hare Wrecker Service has the power and the professional, trained, and certified team to get the job done. Serving all of Alabama from locations in Glencoe and Gadsden, Hare Wrecker Service.
Bret Holmes has definitely started making some noise in the racing world. His 5th place finish in his ARCA debut at Nashville a couple of weeks ago in the Music City 200 definitely turned some heads. Now he's getting ready to step onto the biggest stage of them all, the Talladega Superspeedway, where with his talent, a team, and the equipment capable of winning, he can ratchet that noise level up even more. But even at Bret's young age, this has been in the making for quite some time. So we got the father and son together side by side so we could get the details. Guys, thanks for joining us today on the Alabama Racer. Stacy, that's an awfully impressive facility you have there behind you. Can you tell us how all this got started?
It started a long time ago. Actually, when I was about a junior in high school, I started going to the racetrack, and then actually met Red Farmer at the Talladega Short Track. And Red was crew chief in Davy Allison in I think the Busch Series back in them days, and I started kind of just skipping school and going to the big racetrack and you know, with Davey and Red when they would practice. And that kind of got the racing bug in me, and you know, so not long after high school, I actually bought an old car from a buddy down here in Munford and started racing. And I'd say over a lot of years that I was your typical Saturday night. I worked all week and you know, would work on the car Saturday day and go to the Talladega Short Track. And you know, and then it just dawned on me one year as my business kept growing. You know, I thought, you know, I need to take this serious. If I'm gonna do it, I need to put 100% effort into it. And that's actually when I started having some success, and you know, got the right people around me that could help me. And then I got in with Barry Wright up in South Carolina, and that stepped our dirt track program up several levels. And Bret started racing go-karts. I mean, I tell you, it was so long ago. It just, but I won't ever forget. I tell this story a lot because the first time I carried Bret to the go-kart track, you know, I'm just an old racer. I thought he knew everything, and you know, I told him, I said, son, I said, after the checkered flag, I said, just come off a racetrack and, you know, come back to the pits. I didn't tell him to slow down. Well, when he came off of the racetrack, he kept his right foot down, and I jumped and grabbed the back of the go-kart, and he drug me about 20 feet. And, you know, I was just sitting there thinking like, and the first thing Bret asked me, he said, did I do good? You know, and it was one of them moments I reckon you never forget. But it wasn't long after that I realized how good of a racer Bret was going to be. And, you know, it would come a time that I just needed to step back and you know, be 100% helping him. And I tell you, I've enjoyed every minute of it. It's, you know, I have a lot of people ask me about, do I miss driving? And you know, I just honestly, it don't ever bother me. I just, you know, I feel like this is what we supposed to be doing. So, and I love managing and putting a team and everything together to give him a 100% chance at what we're doing.
Bret, what's your first memory of racing?
I'd probably say that first race he's talking about. I don't remember too much of that part, but you know, it was just a race at Coldwater. Coldwater used to have an old little go-kart track, and we had an old yard cart that I got for Christmas one year, I think, and just, you know, ride around the yard all the time. And you know, after watching Dad for years doing this, I just decided, you know, I wanted to start racing too. And so, you know, one night, you know, one week we just started getting it ready to go, and you know, that was it. I think you know, it was my first race and won it. There was only like a couple other cars there in a yard cart class, but that was probably my first memory.
Stacy, there had to come a point in time where you realized that Bret might be better at this than most. Can you tell us at what point in time in your mind that happened?
Well, when Bret was racing go-karts at Talladega Short Track, at the go-kart track, I mean, I just seen at an early age that Bret was one that we could coach and tell him what to do when he went out on the racetrack, and he would just instantly do it. It would, you know, we actually had a Stephen Butterworth was our crew chief over the go-karts, and you know, and we just had a lot of success, and Bret just took it up so quickly that it was a little bit effortless on our part that you know, to get him winning, and I won't ever forget one time at Kenny Schrader come to the go-kart track and to watch Bret race, and he made a little wager with Bret on what lap Bret could take the lead. And, you know, Kenny said, I can't believe I came to the go-kart track and lost $50. We all laughed about it. It was one of them moments. But Kenny turned around and told Bret that night, he said, hey, just don't forget about me. Give me a job one day when you make it to the top. And, you know, we just always, that's what we work for. And it comes down to hard work. I mean, everybody here at our shop, you know, the difference is how much work you put into your program. And I don't think anybody is outworking us right now as far as what it takes to get the job done.
And to you, Bret, when did it kind of cross your mind that racing might be a career path for you going forward?
A lot of people do get in this sport, and when they get the late models, they stop. They don't, you know, move on from that. And I feel like after go-karts, you know, we were winning a bunch in go-karts, but even then, honestly, I knew I had talent, but I didn't think, you know, I'd be up at this level. And finally, you know, we moved up to late models and a bigger car, and I started having, you know, my first year in it, I struggled a lot, you know, just finishing races or finishing the top 10. And that's when I hated racing. But the next year, you know, as soon as we started doing well and I had a lot more success, I had a lot of fun in it, and I realized, you know, after catching on to this stuff quick and having success and traveling a lot and working with the team, you know, we just had, you know, we worked all week to go to the racetrack and travel somewhere every Saturday night. And that's when I realized I could do something in this one day. And, you know, that's when thoughts and me and my dad talked about moving on to, you know, the asphalt experience and what I needed to do there to be able to move up and become a better driver.
This question's really to both of you. Your family roots are deep in dirt racing, but Stacy, I can remember conversations that you and I have had in the past where you talked about how overwhelming the transition was from dirt to asphalt racing. Can you tell us about that?
Well, I tell you, it's there's really no words to describe the difference. But it's the people. You know, you've got to have the right people around you. You know, Jim Barfield, Bret's crew chief and late model, and pro, and Tiny, all of the people it's just came on board to help that learning curve. But I tell you what, dirt racing is just, I mean, y'all know that's my past, and I love it with a passion. But I still don't, you know, it's this asphalt transition it's extremely hard. But you know, you work and you get good people around you, and but it's been a blast. I'm telling you, I'm like Bret. I'd race 7 days a week if we could.
And I'd say, and like Dad said, to emphasize a little bit more on the people around us, you know, we worked with Lee Falk and Augie Grill a lot, and picked up Jim Barfield and Brian Casey, and, you know, we had a whole transition in the shop, getting different parts and, you know, learning so much, talking every week to somebody who does this for a living, and that's what really set our program off. And it was a hard transition there for a year, but we've gotten to the point these past couple of years where we've had a lot of success in it.
Stacy, how difficult has it been to work the plan instead of really jumping out there and getting straight into ARCA or trucks instead of doing the pro late model and late model stuff that you've done the past year and a half just to learn the asphalt side of this?
That's a good question, but I'm going to tell you, I listen real well, and I've got friends that's at the upper level, and I ask for advice, and this is Carl Edwards. I asked Carl, and Carl said, Stacy, whatever you do, don't go because you can, go because you're ready. Go when Bret's ready. So it's been hard to hold back, and holding back and making sure Bret's ready for the transition on to ARCA and speedways is, but that's what I did. I listened to Carl, and even today, I tell you, you in any sport or business, or you've got to have people that you trust and is going to give you good advice.
And I'd say he's right. We made that trend. We talked about it a long time there. The last year of my dirt late model career, and about transitioning over to asphalt, and we thought that was the best option for us to do, because getting that asphalt experience and that changing over that different driving style was going to help us so much in the future when we did this. And like he said, it's all about being ready before you jump into this. If I didn't go through that late model experience, no telling how I would be doing in ARCA right now. So I think it's definitely been a huge benefit for us to go through asphalt for a few years and take baby steps before you move into this. I think moving into it way too quick, and you see a lot of drivers do that, and they don't perform well because they haven't gotten the experience yet.
Bret, and your dirt racing experience, and even Friday night he won at Pensacola, and I sat and watched him, and on his tires was wore out, and a lot of the asphalt drivers was, their tires, they was giving up. But from Bret's dirt experience, he was so used to a loose race car. I think a lot of that experience is where some of this pays off now. That's what you build. You build a foundation, and then you're ready when you get there.
Stacy, what about Bret? How much have you had to kind of ride the bridle on him just a bit?
Bret would race 7 days a week if it wouldn't kill our crew. I have to tell him, hey, we've got to have a break. You can't, but that's the reason I reckon we have so many cars sitting behind us is, we love racing, and that's what we do. But it's just like this weekend. You can look at our calendar, and Bret writes stuff on the calendar that can't we go here, can't we go there, and I'm like, hey, don't we need to just concentrate and get through Talladega, but we love racing. We'd go, like I said, 7 days a week if we could.
Thanks to both Bret and Stacy Holmes for taking time out to join us today from their shops down in Munford as they get ready for Bret's Super Speedway debut in the General Tire 200 in a couple of weeks out at the Talladega Super Speedway. You folks have no idea how busy these folks are getting ready for that race. Our co-host, Cruz Skinner, knows a little bit about Bret Holmes. You guys all grew up together.
Yes, sir. Me and Bret knew each other before I started racing, and once I got into go-karts, we were racing against each other a little bit, and that's just a lot of fun being able to race against somebody that you really knew, and you beat them one week, you got bragging rights for that week. So that was a lot of fun being able to do something like that. But I just really wanted to wish Bret good luck at Talladega, and I really hope that he gets to finish at 81.
Coming up, we'll have part 2 of the sit-down with the Holmes next week on the show, so make sure you join us for that. Coming up next, somebody else young Skinner knows very well, the guy that does the wraps on his number 11 CBR crate late model race car. Talking about Jason Hiett, the owner of Freestyle Graphics. Jason also does a little of this, too. We'll get to him when we come back next here on the Alabama Racer.
Need a place to keep your tools?
Or a place to get away from the wife. Whatever your needs are, we got a barn or a carport for you.
With rent-to-own options and no credit checks, we can help you take home the right barn or carport today.
And with 4 different locations, we're just a short drive away.
So come see us in Glencoe, Moody, Asheville, or Attala, and let our family help your family get the barn or carport you deserve.
Is your business growing and now you need a new and bigger building? Has your organization outgrown their facility and now it's time to expand? Do your hobbies require the need for more space? If you're paying rent, but now you want the advantages of owning, the prospect of financing, construction, and on-time completion may seem out of your reach. General Steel Corporation has the answer. A pre-engineered steel building from the General will not only look great and satisfy almost any need, but you'll save time and money. Our team will help you create your building and deliver it to your location. We offer design services to help you present your concept to board members, bankers, or for fundraising. And the General can even help with financing. General Steel is a name you know, with quality backed by a 50-year structural warranty. Call today and find out how easy it is to have the building you want. You may even save up to $20,000 with rebates. If you need space, you need the General.
Oxford's Jason Hiett is a man who is passionate about late model dirt track racing. He's also a guy who's turned his love for graphics into a very successful business, Freestyle Graphics. Jason, welcome into the Alabama Racer. Thanks for your time. First, let's start with the business side of things. Tell us how you got started with Freestyle Graphics.
Well, I actually got into it, through racing. We were racing ourselves and just, having a little trouble getting our graphic guys to do stuff, so we ended up just buying us a machine and started out doing actually racing graphics, and it just kind of progressed from there, and we grew and ended up getting digital printer stuff, and we were doing it in our basement, me and my brother, and we just decided one day we're going to try and open up a business, and started from that. And I was actually in a smaller place on Berry Street for I think 3 or 4 years, and then we've been here about 2.5 years in this new building, and so it kind of went a lot better than I thought it would go, and we just started growing from there, and here we are now.
Jason, when the racers come to you for graphics, do they usually know what they want, or is it more of a kind of start from scratch situation?
Some of them already know what they want. It usually works out better if they just give me their number, sponsors, and let us do the work and just send them something. But there's a lot more involved in the design part of it than people think. You probably spend 4 to 8 hours on a race car wrap just designing it. But usually if you give them what they want the first time, it kind of saves some time, and you don't have to mess with it again. That makes it a lot easier. There's some that it takes 4, 5, 6 times to get what they want, so that you got a little bit more time involved there.
Growing up in the Carolinas, I can vividly remember how excited everyone was when the local sign painter was going to come in and letter the race car for the season. Jason, I know things have changed a bunch since those days, but tell us just how much things have changed. How has lettering race cars progressed?
Well, I mean, when I was a kid, I can remember actually going to people shop like Terry Smith, Tim Rosell, those guys, my dad, and you had somebody come in and actually hand paint the lettering on there, and then it kind of evolved to having like 1 color and 2 color letters where you could just cut the vinyl out, and then now we've got full color digital printers, so you're able to pretty much print any colors that you need, and it's really evolved a lot to where now you can just wrap the whole side of the car, so you can get the car dinged up a little bit and hammer it out, and it seems like you can use the wraps a whole lot longer now than you could.
I know you do a lot of cars. Do you have any favorites?
it just seems like the more you do, the better that you get at it. So, you know, the stuff that we've done this year, obviously we think that it looks better than last year's stuff just because we kind of progress as we go. So it just kind of gets better every year. Just you kind of learn stuff as you go, and you know, you just learn a lot of tricks and stuff like that. So I think they just get better as you do them.
Like everything else, I'm sure technology's impacted your business here at Freestyle Graphics. Can you tell us how?
Well, I mean, it's like the people that do these programs, you know, they get better every year, and our stuff automatically updates. So you get all the new little tricks and shadow effects, and you know, so they're all the time getting better. So that kind of adds to the wraps and stuff like that, and makes them look better.
Okay, let's transition from the business side of things over to racing. Tell us how you got started.
Well, I mean, my dad raced. He started, I believe, in '86, and I was born in '84, so I was two at that point in time. But you know, I started racing go-karts when I was, you know, 5 years old, 6 years old. Raced go-karts for a little while. Raced some motorcycles actually there for 3 or 4 years. And then he got me on the big track when I was 13, and it just kind of progressed from there. I mean, I've pretty much raced my whole life, you know, since I was 5 or 6 years old.
Jason, I know you travel as much as you can to race. What's it like to pull into the big events and take on the big guys in the sport from around the country?
I started doing it because it just makes you better to race with those guys, you know. So it's definitely a different deal when you go race with those guys. The pace is picked up. Those guys travel a lot, so they kind of adapt to tracks quicker. And most of these guys that we're racing with, they've been racing, you know, they're racing when I was really young. So, you know, they're tough to beat, and you kind of gotta pay your dues and race with those guys for a while. They're not easily beat by no means. So we've progressed and got better, you know, and just the biggest thing with racing like regionally and with those guys is just the technology, and there's more sponsors that are working with those guys, and there's a lot more money there that those guys are spending. So to keep up with those guys is really tough, just because of the sponsors and the money that they're getting.
Share with us what you think are some of the best tracks and events to go to.
Well, as far as a must-do event, you know, Eldora is going to be my number one on that. We went one time, and you know, it was just it was something that, you know, everybody needs to do for sure. You know, we've had good luck at like Rome and Dixie. We're always, you know, Talladega. I've raced there so many times that I just feel like we can unload there and be competitive no matter who's there. And so, you know, I've got a few tracks like that we've really had success at. But as far as like, if I'm going to go one place, it's going to be the Eldora.
Before you hang up the helmet, Jason, what's on your bucket list? What's some things you'd still like to accomplish?
We've kind of set our goals, you know, that I'd like to win a Lucas Oil race at some point in time, which we'll eventually win one. It's just, you just got to go to enough of those deals to actually know the tracks and, you know, what you need to do to keep up with those guys. So, you know, that goes back to part of just paying your dues, and, you know, that's my main goal, is to win one of those deals, you know, eventually.
Jason, thanks for joining us today on the Alabama Racer. Continued success with Freestyle Graphics, and good luck as you tow that #1 late model across the country, racing against some of the best in the land. We've got to get to pit road. The caution flag is out, but before we do that, we need to remind you to join us next week as some folks from Green Oil Company, the local VP Racing Fuels and Additives distributor, will be joining us for a very special announcement. You don't want to miss that. All right, we've got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. You stay close.
The tire, arguably the most important part of a car. Without it, we could not stop, we could not go, we couldn't drive at all. They come in all sizes, brands, treads, prices, and ratings. How do you know which is the right tire for you? Thankfully, there's Cobb Automotive, and they have been answering this question since 1981. With a large selection of brands and sizes in stock, you are sure to get the right tire for the right price. Cobb Automotive, located on Highway 21 across from Walmart in Oxford, and 2001 Quintard Avenue in Anniston.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS?
Then get on board with the Tax Admiral and let us steer your way to financial freedom.
The IRS is the largest collection agency in the world. They can freeze your bank accounts, seize your car, home, will garnish your paychecks and benefits.
Don't take on the IRS alone. I can fight for you using industry secrets that can help stop the IRS. I'll cut your penalties, slash your interest, and reduce your overall tax bill. Sometimes I can even get it zeroed out completely.
We're an A-rated company with over 30 years experience helping people clean up their mess with the IRS. And we have a 95% customer satisfaction rating.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS, are facing an audit, a lien, or levy, then call me right away. You're in charge with the Tax Admiral. Call me now for your free emergency consultation.
Call 800-218-4908. That's 800-218-4908.
We build things that work the way you wish they would. Like a front-end loader you can detach from your seat. Or a mower deck you just drive over. And cut through knee-deep grass no problem. Yep, we thought the same thing you did. That's why we build them this way. That's how we run. Nothing runs like a deer.
Let's get to it. Here's Jim with this week's edition of the Racing Calendar.
This week's racing calendar on the Alabama Racer starts with another season opener that got pushed back 1 week due to rain last Friday. They'll try again this Friday night at Penton Raceway in Lafayette with a full slate of racing action, including crate late models, limited sportsmen, Penton late models, hobby stocks, and bandits. The gates open at 5 with hot laps at 7:30. Admission is $10 for adults, with children 12 and under admitted free. The weekly racing action continues Saturday night at East Alabama Motor Speedway down in Phoenix City. See a full slate of action with gates opening at 5, racing at 7:30. Admission is just $12 for adults, and kids 12 and under are admitted free. Congratulations to last week's winners at EAMS, Joseph Brown in late model, Bubba Gorman in limited late model, Jason Price in hobby, Richie Stevens in street stock, Billy Duell Jr. in Road Warriors, and Tony Newsom in Hot Shots. Down in South Alabama Saturday night, a highly anticipated father versus son matchup between Stephen Davis and his dad Mark lived up to the hype and left the fans wanting more at Mobile International Speedway. A short invert in the Joker's Wild event put Stephen in a spot that made short work of the field, and the son beat the dad to the line for the win. The Mobile Derby Darlings took to the Speedway for the first known roller derby bout at MIS. The ladies put on a great show with a lot of bump drafting down the straightaways and in the corners. Mobile will be back in action on May the 28th for Memorial Day weekend with their annual Salute to Our Troops, featuring the return of the Southern Super Series Super Stock Bombers and Sportsmen. It was quite a show Saturday night as the Modifieds Mayhem Tour in 3 local divisions put on a clinic at Montgomery Motor Speedway. The night started off in the capital city with a new late model sportsman track record as Roger Rios blistered a lap of 20.860, shattering the previous record of 20.963 set by Justin South. Street stock honors went to Charles Davis. Billy Melvin took the win in the Modifieds Mayhem feature, and Roger Rios held off Dave Mather III and Perry Patino in late models. The action continues next Saturday with the Show Me the Money Twin 50s, featuring the Pro Late Model Division, plus the Street Stocks, Late Model Sportsman, and the Modified Minis. The gates will open at 5 with qualifying at 6 and racing at 7 p.m. Tickets are $15 for adults, $10 for seniors and military, $5 kids 6 to 12, and children 5 and under are always free. They're in their 25th season of racing at Shelby County Speedway down in Wilsonville. There's dirt action every Saturday night with gates opening at 5 and hot laps getting underway at 6:30. Congratulations to last week's Shelby County winners, Willie Trawick in Buzz, Sam Martin in Hogs, Tony Cantrell in Super Pony, Jeremy Edwards in Street Stock, and Hayden Franklin in the Crate Sportsman. At Huntsville Speedway, the Super Truck Division has been high on action and excitement. This past Saturday night was no exception, with several side-by-side battles throughout the field and a first-time feature winner. Huntsville Speedway returns to action this Saturday with races featuring the open-wheel modifieds, limited late model, super stock, mini modifieds, the Pro Buzz, Buzz, and Hot Shot divisions. Pit gates open at 3 with the front gates at 5. Qualifying gets underway at 6 p.m. and the first green flag of the evening flies at 7 o'clock. Admission is $10 for adults, $5 for children ages 7 to 12, with kids 6 and under admitted free. Congratulations to last week's Huntsville Speedway winners in mini modifieds, Tommy Robinette. In rim runners, Sean Frederick. David Bradford picked up the checkers in the super truck. Austin Thornton in Buzz. Jacob Barnett in amateur Buzz. Brad Malone in super stock. Byron Westbrooks in sportsman. And Josh Bennett won in hot shots. Weekly racing continues at Talladega Short Track this weekend with the go-karts on the dirt at Talladega Raceway Park on Friday with all kart, junior, and mini late models in action. Grandstand admission is always free with concessions available. Talladega Short Track roars back to life Saturday with another weekly racing program in all divisions. The gates open at 5 with racing at 8 o'clock. Admission is just $10 with kids 9 and under admitted free. Congratulations to last Saturday's winners at TST, Adam Martin in Super Late Model, Justin McCrae in Crate Late Model, Kip Fawcett in Sportsman, Jared Gray in Thundercar, Steve Pate in Street Stock, and Jessica Wirtz in Hot Shots. If you don't see your track on the show this week, it's only because we don't have your info. Send weekly results, upcoming events, photos, and videos to us via email at thealabamaracer@fnnnetwork.com. Deadline to be on each week's show is 12 noon every Tuesday. If you own or operate a business and you're interested in reaching racers across the state of Alabama, show sponsorships for the Alabama Racer are available. Just give us a call at 256-403-9025, and we'll get you all the information you need to get on board. This week's racing calendar concludes with our condolences to the friends and family of Johnny Strawbridge, who passed away on Monday. Johnny has been shooting video at the Talladega Short Track for the past 30 years. The Alabama Racer sends our deepest sympathy to Johnny's wife, Brenda, as well as to all of his family and friends. Daffron Auto Salvage in Pell City is where you'll find over 30 acres of automotive salvage, plus a warehouse full of quality parts for almost any need. Just call ahead and tell us what you're looking for. At Daffron Auto Salvage, you'll find it all. Engine parts, transmissions, rear ends, radiators, suspension, body parts, auto glass, even tires and wheels. You'll also get fast, friendly service. It's been that way since 1965. Don't pay too much for parts. Think used first. Daffron Auto Salvage, 793 Old Cold City Road in Pell City.
Welcome to Calhoun County, Alabama, your natural attraction. We have invigorating outdoor activities, amazing cultural sites, mouth-watering food, and southern hospitality, all wrapped into one amazing vacation destination. Whether you're looking for a relaxing overnight getaway or for a one-of-a-kind escapade, Calhoun County boasts an incredible selection of outdoor recreational opportunities. Calhoun County is the natural attraction, centrally located between Atlanta and Birmingham, with plenty of fun and memories waiting to be made. Come to Calhoun County, Alabama, a natural attraction.
Well, that's going to put a wrap on this week's edition of the Alabama Racer. We want to thank our special guest co-host Cruz Skinner for coming in the studio to join us this week. Before we head on over to Victory Lane to wrap things up, Cruz, we're going to start a tradition. Everybody that guest co-host on the show gets to thank their sponsors. Going to get you some practice for when you're big time. It's all yours.
First of all, we're just going to hope that I'll make it that far. I just wanted to thank everybody that supported us and stayed behind us throughout the years, and I'm really looking forward to another great year with them. I just wanted to start out by thanking Skinner Body Shop, Skinner Motors, Napa Auto Parts, Huddle House, CVR Race Cars. Chip up there at CVR built some amazingly fast race cars, and they're really safe too. I just wanted to thank him for keeping me safe and building.
Get your iPhone out now. Come on, you got so many at 14.
Well, I guess that's a good problem to have.
Yes, it is.
But, I just wanted to thank Boyd Speedways, Bad Boy Buggies, Sunoco Race Fuels for supporting us, and Real Wheel Racing Wheels, AR Bodies, Hoosier Tire, Schoenfield Headers, Hillbilly Willie's Barbecue, Austin Hines Motors, and Kaiser Manufacturing.
Man, having a place to eat is big time important. All right, where are you headed this weekend?
This weekend, Friday night, we will be at Magnolia Motor Speedway in Columbus, Mississippi. Then Saturday night, we'll head over to Meridian, Mississippi to run at Why Not Motorsports Park. Then we'll travel all the way back over to Rome, Georgia to run at Rome Speedway.
And then Monday morning,
I'll be right back at school.
At Oxford High School, where his sister JoJo is one heck of a softball pitcher.
Oh yes, sir, definitely. And I just wanted to congratulate her and the Lady Jackets on a terrific softball season this year.
Hey man, thanks for being here. Good to have you.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week right here on the Alabama Racers. Don't forget now, 8 o'clock every Thursday, fnnnetwork.com. You can check us out on Twitter at the Alabama Racer. And if you have any questions, you can email us at the Alabama Racer at fnnnetwork.com. Have a great week, everybody. And remember, if you're not first, you're last.